Howdy, friends. This is Butch at Sand Hollow Homestead, Sand Hollow, Idaho. Well, as you can see, I'm back on the welder again. And this time, I'm using my son's soldering gun. Now, I have tried to use this before. It wasn't working, and what a learning curve. Those screws and this end piece has to be inserted just exactly right to connect to get the right voltage to be able to melt this solder properly. And it does have a low and a high. I wasn't even getting that. It was too intermittent. My son showed me how to do this. And hey, keep in mind, he went to college for electronics and computers. So, he showed me how to do it. And Big Daddy learned something. And I have struggled. The last one of these pointers, it broke. I assume that happens to some folks. I didn't think I was pressing on it hard, but it broke. And I found that it wasn't working anymore, so I had to replace it, and then I had to insert this and make sure that it was tightened the way Barton said it should be tightened. And it worked pretty good. Now, I am not going to say that I am a good solderer. Fact of it is, I wouldn't even say I'm mediocre. Some of these soldering that I done at first, and I did it with my see if I can find it. Yeah, right there. That's a butane and butane lighter. And that may be good on some things, but on this stuff, I don't know. The wires seem to be solid. I was able to solder the clip, this little clip right here that I'm pointing to. That's got to be smashed down on the wire, and it's got to be inserted into a groove. And once it's smashed down real good, and what I used is I used my dikes. Once I bent it down with my pliers, I used my dikes to really crimp it over that wire. And it looked pretty good. Now, they probably have a really good quality. Maybe they're using a needle nose or something. I don't know. Could even be a machine. I don't know. But as you can see, I think my soldering got a little better. And the farther you get back here, you start seeing what is all of that, right? What is that? What is that? The other thing that I'm doing different is I'm putting a heat shrink on these wires, except for the ones that I forget. The rest of these have heat shrink. And this is my next one. And somewhere down inside this welder is another heat shrink. Matter of fact, I know right where it's at. And I'm going to put this heat shrink on this wire. If that's the right one that I had. Yeah, it is. And I pull that down. And I put that right into number 12. I will try. This is going to be difficult to show you what I'm doing, but right there, I just crimped that down, right? And I want to make sure that I'm crimping that down really good. So this right here is crimped down with my pliers. So I use pliers. And now I'm going to grab the dikes and see if I can't get you a picture of that. I still have to be able to get on it. So, oh boy, sorry about that. I don't even know where my camera is. Okay. There, now we're back in focus. Wow. I think it's going to take 2 hands. Okay, folks. It took 2 hands to get that crimped. Notice how it's crimped over that wire, and now it's crimped down to where it's down to the brass, and that's about as good as I can get it down. And now I'm ready to solder. Now what I'm going to do, I got a little bit of flux, and see if I can do this and show you what I'm doing at the same time. That wire, trying to get that to where it's got flux. And then, oops, upside down. That don't help any. Okay. That's what I'm using. I also purchased this. I can't hardly get that thing to focus. There you go. This is the other solder I have. And then we got some others in the box. So now comes the tedious part of soldering that last lug and wire. Once I do that, I can start reassembling. I will do a little more cleanup, but I thought I'd just share that with you. It is coming along, and yeah, I'm using a plastic coffee bucket to help hold that up there where I need it, and I'll set it up just so I can get a good look at it. And I need that. I need it right where I can see it. Okay, I better get to work. Show you what it's like when I get her bolted down. Well, to close up this story on this 225 Lincoln welder, I had it all put together after I soldered everything together. I was real happy with it, but I couldn't get the control switch, selector switch, to turn. Now I can. I had to take it back apart, and that was a pain, and kind of work it. And what I found was, if you see, I'm pointing up in the air now with that control switch, selector switch. I had it 180 degrees off. I still couldn't get it to turn either way. But I can now. I broke it loose and cleaned it up. I fixed the wheels so they won't come off now. And it does look like the stingers, I can probably rebuild it, clean it up and rebuild it. I need some new insulators. And I may decide to replace the whole thing and start good. I know they're not cheap, but better than not being able to weld right. I haven't fired it up because I didn't put a plug on it. I do have a welder receptacle, and I have the wire. So this journey of fixing this old 51-year-old welder, she's done. And until I can get her plugged in and test it out and see if I wasted my money. Well, I've had another project I was working on too. We were gifted a gas range, which is something that we've been wanting to do, is get off the electricity and get into natural gas. Problem is, had electrical problems, and as you can see, that burnt spot there, I'm pretty sure that that's where it failed. Now, I'm not sure, I'm thinking that's the oven control, but you know, when a circuit board starts having electrical problems, it's time to ditch it. So we're probably going to end up being the proud owner of a new gas stove, because I don't want to put something like this in my house, consider worrying about whether I'm going to burn the place down or not. So I've got my welder, the 225 Lincoln in place. I've got a little Lincoln wire feed welder, and then that air compressor has been gifted, and I've got to run power to it and check it out. These things were rather old, wouldn't you say? And it's probably going to pull a lot of amps with that big motor, but my conscience, that's an old timer, and it's extremely heavy. It's really built. So we'll see what I can do. I do want to put a bolt bend up on the wall. That's another day, another dollar. So from Sand Hollow Homestead, that's about it. You've seen what the weather was like yesterday. Whew. I'm glad it's a little better today. It's supposed to be up to 95. And I think it's just about there. So from Sand Hollow Homestead, we'll see you later. Bye now.